The goal of this video is to show you how to choose a simple random sample using a table of random digits, and we'll come to know this table as Table B as we continue to work with it throughout the course. The instructions for this begins on page 335 in your book, and so I just want to point out some things to you and use the example on page 336 to walk you through. One of the things you'll soon find about statistics is that we are responsible for communicating a lot. We want to make sure that we are following the rubric that we went over in class, and we are explaining as much as we can without over-explaining. And so in the box on page 337, you see how we should use a table of random digits. The whole purpose is to choose a simple random sample, which ensures that not only every individual has the same chance of being chosen, but also that any group of a given sample size also has the same chance of being chosen from any given population. So there are 4 steps we want to take. First, we want to make sure we label every individual in the population. We use as few digits as possible, but we have to make sure that each individual has the same number of digits as a representative label. Then we use Table B to select these labels at random. We'll go into that in detail. We want to make sure that we talk about when we should stop sampling, and that's usually I will sample until I get however many individuals I'm looking for. And then lastly, after I've chosen those numbers from the table, I go back and use those labels to identify the specific subjects that should take part in the sample. Take some time to read the example on page 336. If you haven't done so already, you may want to pause the video while you do this. Notice that Joan has 30 clients, and she wants to choose just 5 of them via an SRS in order to deliver a survey to them or interview them regarding their satisfaction with her services. And so because we have 30 clients and we want to use as few digits as possible, 30 has 2 digits. And so we want to make sure that we do 2-digit assignments. And so as we label, we want to make sure that we go from 01 to 30. And we also want to give an indication of how we're applying these labels. And in this case, if you look at the table in the book, you'll see that they were applied alphabetically. Notice that we are not going 1, 2, 3, etc., all the way to 30. Each of the single digits have a 0 in front of them because we will be looking at the table 2 digits at a time. Which brings us to step 2. Ideally, you would enter the table anywhere that you want. In this case, we've arbitrarily chosen line 130. That part doesn't matter. So we just want to give some summary of how we're going to do this. So in the table, we are going to enter at line 130. And because we've made 2-digit assignments, we're going to choose 2 digits at a time. As we determine which clients will be chosen. Now, there are some things to be aware of. We need to consider what happens if we have a number that's outside of our range of 01 to 30, and also what's going to happen with repeats. In this case, if we get something outside of 30, we're going to ignore it because we don't have any clients with a label that goes beyond 30. So ignore numbers that are greater than 30. And because it's also possible to get 00, we also want to ignore that. And we also want to make sure that we ignore any repeats. So for example, if I choose client number 29 and I come across that number again, I wouldn't ask client 29 again the same questions as I will already have the answers from that business owner. The next thing we want to consider is when we should stop. Well, we're looking for 5 clients, and so that's when we'll stop. So continue to read 2-digit groups until 5 clients are chosen. And again, this is considering what we've said above about ignoring numbers greater than 30, ignoring 00, and also ignoring any repeats that we may have. Okay, if you want to follow along here, you can, or you can turn to your table in the back of the book. It's Table B, Table of Random Digits. You can follow along there as well. We will enter the table here at line 130, and this was chosen arbitrarily, in general, I may give you the line to start at. That makes it simpler for the scorers to grade so that every student should come up with the same set of random digits. In general, you can begin at whatever line you want. So as we enter the table, we are looking for values between 0, 1, and 30. Those are the assignments that we made. We are ignoring 0, 0, and we are ignoring any repeats that we get along with numbers that are outside of this range. So as we enter the table, we see the first two-digit number we get to is 69. Well, 69 is not in our range, so we'll ignore it. And then when we come across 0, 5, that is certainly a number that we can use. The next number we see is 16. You may be concerned about this gap. Don't worry about it. It's just for ease on the eyes. So I can choose 16. 48, however, is not in my range, so I ignore it. 17 is in the range, so I'll choose it. So far we have 0, 5, 16, and 17 as clients. We need 2 more. We continue on. 87 is not in the range. 17 is in the range, but we've already chosen client 17 to interview, and we certainly won't interview that same client again. So we ignore this 17. Crossing here, 40 is not in the range. 95 is not in the range. 17 is in the range, but another repeat. 84 is not in the range. 53 is not in the range. 40 is not in the range. Neither are 64, 89, or 87. The next number we come to that is in the range is 20, and then if we cross here between this gap, we also get 19. So we have 20 and 19 here. So the 5 clients to be chosen are those that we labeled 5, 16, 17, 20, and 19. The last step is to identify those clients. And so again, the ones we chose in the order of the table were 0, 5, 16, 17, 20, and 19. If you look back to page 336 at the labeling, then we'll see that these clients are Bailey Trucking, JL Records, Johnson Commodities, Magic Tan, and Lou's Chinese Restaurant. So these are the 5 clients that Jones should choose based on our method in order to interview about client satisfaction. Now, there's also a way to do this on your calculator. We will talk about that in class on Monday. But make sure that you go back and look at the steps that we took. You would have to write these every time. You would have to show the X's and circles on the table every time as well. Feel free to make comments below if you have any questions, and make sure that you fill out the reflection form in order to give me feedback on the video itself. And I will see you in class on Monday.